Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Rajesh Das and today we are going to discuss about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is mainly taking place by in the plant and so we are going to discuss in plant photosynthesis. But also exception cases is there, that is in some bacteria, they are called as photosynthetic bacteria. So before going to photosynthesis process, we are going to discuss about light spectrum for photosynthesis. Just a little brief idea about that which is the spectrum of light has been used by the plant for photosynthesis. So here you can see radio waves, right, microwaves, infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray and gamma ray. So here okay, so frequency and wavelength. Frequency is denoted as Hz and wavelength is denoted as nanometer. So frequency, I think you guys must be known that what is frequency and what is wavelength. So if frequency is higher, then wavelength will be low. If wavelength will be higher, frequency will be low. It is a vice versa, and it's work as the opposite of each other. So now coming to wavelength. So if the wavelength is low, the energy will be high, and if the energy will be low, the wavelength will be high. It is also vice versa. So the plant mainly use this spectrum for their photosynthesis process, and this is known as our visible light, which our eyes can detect, and it is lies between infrared and ultraviolet, that is 700 nanometer and 400 nanometer, till 700 to 400 nanometer. 700 nanometer, okay, one thing, plant do absorb maximum at 700 nanometer light, okay, and also 680 nanometer light. I think it must be clear for light spectrum for photosynthesis. So here this is the outline of photosynthesis, where sunlight has been used and carbon dioxide plus water. Sunlight, carbon dioxide plus water, these three things are essential requirement for photosynthesis process. And that these three things together, they are making glucose, sugar and oxygen, right? This is the reaction where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water together, they are producing glucose plus oxygen. Oxygen is being released, okay, and this is the organic compound which is being used by all the organisms in the earth, and that is only prepared by the plant only. The organisms has been evolved with the photosynthesis process, okay, which can convert the inorganic carbon into the organic carbon compound. Okay, so as we know that photo means light and synthesis means the production of something. Okay, so photosynthesis is the by the help of light we are producing, or sorry, plant is producing organic carbon compound, that is glucose. So carbon dioxide is inorganic compound. It is converted into organic compound as glucose in photosynthesis process. This is the definition: synthesis of organic compound with the help of carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. So where exactly photosynthesis takes place? Everyone knows that in the leaf, but where exactly inside the leaf? It is in the mesophyll cell. Okay, do remember. Mesophyll cell. Mesophyll cells are two types: palisade mesophyll cell and spongy mesophyll cell. Structure of leaf. This is the structure of leaf. If you cut horizontally, you can get the structure of leaf. Okay. So this is upper epidermis. From upper epidermis, something is hanging, right? This is nothing but palisade mesophyll cells, and this is spongy mesophyll cell. We'll see first about the upper epidermis. Upper epidermis is coated with a waxy material. Okay, this upper epidermis is hydrophobic in nature. They doesn't allow water to get inside. Okay. Now coming to palisade mesophyll cell. Palisade mesophyll cell, they contains the major photosynthetic process here. The majorly photosynthesis process happens in palisade mesophyll cell. I said majorly or maximum. Why? Why majorly or maximum? Then why spongy mesophyll cell is required? Okay. See, these palisade mesophyll cells, they contain the higher concentration of chloroplast. You know about the plastic, right? We have amyloplast, then we have leucoplast, and we have chloroplast. Those plastics that like different plastics has different function. Like chloroplast has their photosynthesis purpose. Leucoplast, they have like they are present in the root system. So it's a different. So we'll discuss about the chloroplast later. So palisade mesophyll cells contain higher amount of chloroplast, and chloroplast contain the photoreceptor chlorophyll. Photoreceptor, what is photoreceptor? Photoreceptor, the photoreceptor, the term suggests that they can receive the light or they can catch the light. So chlorophyll is present in the chloroplast. So palisade mesophyll cells, they contain higher amount of chloroplast. So if they contain the higher amount of chloroplast, obviously they will contain the higher amount of chlorophyll. If they contain the higher amount of chlorophyll, they will absorb the higher amount of light. If they will absorb the higher amount of light, the photosynthesis will be the maximum here. Okay, so the maximum photosynthesis takes place in palisade. Okay, now then why spongy mesophyll cell? Right? Why? Because when sunlight is getting absorbed here, okay, so maximum sunlight is absorbed here, but not 100%. So if 100% sunlight is not been absorbed by the palisade mesophyll cell, so some amount of light escaping from them. So the light that is escaping from the palisade mesophyll cell, from them, the some amount of light is being absorbed by the spongy mesophyll cell. That is why, because if one leaf will absorb much amount of sunlight, the photosynthesis will be takes place much more. Why? They don't want to minimize the photosynthesis process. They want to maximize the photosynthesis process. They don't want to waste the sunlight. Okay, so that's why they have evolved in such a way to get a higher amount of light with the help of spongy mesophyll cell as well. They have palisade mesophyll cell. Their maximum light has been absorbing. But here, the amount that is escaping, that is also absorbed by the spongy mesophyll cell. Now, spongy mesophyll cell, it is opposite of palisade mesophyll cell. It has lower amount of chloroplast. Lower amount of chloroplast means lower amount of chlorophyll. Lower amount of chlorophyll means the photosynthesis is minimum. Okay, but together with palisade and spongy mesophyll cell, the photosynthesis process is in a higher amount. It is taking place in a higher amount. So now, the event that is happening in palisade mesophyll cell, escaping of light from the palisade mesophyll cell, this is known as Schiff effect. What is the Schiff effect? Schiff effect is known as Schiff effect. Because of this Schiff effect, spongy mesophyll cell get chance to absorb light. Okay, so Schiff effect is the cause of to get the absorbed light by spongy mesophyll cell. Spongy mesophyll cell. Okay, so sorry. Sieve effect has been shown in palisade mesophyll cell, not in spongy mesophyll cell. And here you have the vein. Here it is made up of xylem and phloem. Okay, some other cells is around. We are not going to bother about that. Xylem and phloem, you know that they are they are transporting organs. Now this is the gut cell. Okay, stomata. Stoma. Why it is required? Why? Because it is helped to exchange the gases. Like you know that for photosynthesis carbon dioxide is required, right? Without carbon dioxide, photosynthesis will not be taking place. So carbon dioxide is going to insert by this stomata. When stomata will be opened, carbon dioxide will go inside, and when stomata will be closed, carbon dioxide will not enter inside the lid. So the entry of carbon dioxide depends upon the stomata. Okay, gut cell. We'll see all those things in some other videos. We are not going to bother about this gut cells and all now. So carbon dioxide is entering via stomata of stomata. It is a stomata is a nothing but it's a tiny pore, it's a tiny pore of the in the lid. If it is the lid, sorry for the bad diagram. Here in the downside the stomata will be there. Downside, the openings will be always in the downside, not in the upper side. Do remember, not in the upper side, always in the downside. That is why it is a lower epidermis. In the lower part of the leaf, stomata is present, not in the upper part. The upper portion is a flexi coated. Okay, so I think it's clear. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, here upper epidermis does not allow to enter water molecule to inside the cell. Palisade parenchyma. The palisade parenchyma is nothing but your palisade mesophyll cell and spongy mesophyll cell. Sieve effect shown by palisade mesophyll cell. So the main component that is like that is required for photosynthesis. Without that, it is not going to happen at all. If chloroplast will not be there, sunlight will not be absorbed. Why? Because this sunlight is being absorbed by the chloroplast, and the chloroplast is containing chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the photoreceptor. Photoreceptor is contained in the chloroplast granum or thylakoid. Because of this chlorophyll or chlorophyll only light has been absorbed. So we'll see about the chloroplast first. Chloroplast, it is double membranous structure. This is outer membrane, this is inner membrane. and it has thylakoid. This is one plate. You can see these are all nothing but your thylakoid, and all the thylakoid together on each other they stack. It's known as granum, and all this granum together they are known as grana. Now in granum, mainly light is coming. Okay, light is heated. Okay, see here, light is heated here. Okay, it is passing through the mesophyll cell. Remember, this is our upper epidermis. Light is been heated here, and it is going to insert in the mesophyll cell, palisade mesophyll cell, or any spongy mesophyll cell. Here we have the chloroplast. It is going to insert here, and this is your chloroplast, where light is going to inside in the granum. And here it is your lumen. Here chlorophyll is present. This chlorophyll is absorbing the light. Okay, understood how light is going to absorb in the chlorophyll. And chlorophyll structure we'll see in some other videos, not here. Neither it will be so lengthy. So chlorophyll, just only one thing about chlorophyll. Chlorophyll has alternate double bond. Okay, and in the center it has magnesium ion. Because of that alternative ion, chlorophyll can absorb the light. And when chlorophyll absorbs the light, it gets excited and it releases electron. Just remember this thing. This is very much important. Then when chlorophyll get excited, they release one electron. Okay, and this is your stroma lamellae, the connection between two grana. This is your stroma lamellae, and this is called as stroma. Here mainly the glucose has been produced in the stroma, like how cell has cytoplasm. Like that, chloroplast has stroma. Okay. Now coming to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis occurs by two steps. One is light dependent reaction and light independent reaction. Now, what we discuss here, all the slide, this all happens in light dependent reaction. This is all are light independent reaction. Light in the upper epidermis, light in the upper epidermis, it is going to inside the mesophyll cells. Then it is going into the chloroplast, where light is being absorbed by the chlorophyll. It gets excited. So this is all the light dependent reaction. It is happens in presence of the light. Now then, what is light independent reaction? Okay, this reaction of the photosynthesis, it doesn't require light. It happens because of light dependent reaction. Okay, the result of light dependent reaction makes to happen the light independent reaction. Whatever the things is produced in light dependent reactions, that causes to happen the light independent reaction. Okay, light independent reaction is also known as dark reaction. I think most of you knows about the dark reaction. Okay, this is known as dark reaction. Dark reaction doesn't mean that it happens in the night. Okay, it happens in the daytime only, simultaneously with the light dependent reactions. It doesn't happen in the nighttime. We'll see about light dependent independent reaction. So light dependent reaction mainly takes place in the granum. See, this is granum. Okay, here mainly light dependent reaction takes place. Which one? Absorbing of the light by the chlorophyll and getting excited. So what is the requirement of light dependent reaction? First of all, light to getting excited the chlorophyll. Okay, and it is the source is sun. Water is taken by the root. Then coming to photosystem 1. Just remember one thing, that chlorophyll get excited and it releases one electron. Okay. Photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Okay, it is also known as PS1 and PS2. In the first slide, I have told about that plant can absorb the maximum as 700 nanometer to 680 nanometer. I think it will be here, 680 nanometer, right? Yes. So photosystem 1 can absorb 700 nanometer light. That is far red light. Photosystem 2, it can absorb 680 nanometer light. Okay. PS1 maximum absorption is 700 nanometer far red light. PS2 maximum absorption is 680 nanometer light. Now, what makes a photosystem 1 and photosystem 2? Actually, they have the difference between presence of chlorophyll. They have different types of chlorophyll. We have different types of chlorophyll in plant system. So plant system has different type of chlorophyll, that is chlorophyll A, B, C, and photosystem 1 is contains chlorophyll A, photosystem 2 it has chlorophyll B. So, and one main important thing that makes them different is the protein. They have the presence of protein in photosystem 1 is different from photosystem 2. Their proteins makes them to absorb the light in a different wavelength. Okay, just remember those. Okay, now coming to oxygen evolving complex. So, okay, just see here. We have photosystem 1 and we have photosystem 2. Why I have written PS1 is that in here and why PS2 in the first. Okay, I will tell you that. Why? Because first light has been captured by photosystem 2, chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, first light has been absorbed by the chlorophyll A, and it excited the chlorophyll A, and it released the electron, and this electron is passes through the several transporter, and the electron is going to the photosystem 1. That's why I have written photosystem 2 in the first and photosystem 1 in the second. The electron is passes from PS2 to PS1. It get excited and it transfer the electron in photosystem 1. Now, photosystem 1, it is not transferring its electron in photosystem 1, photosystem 2, never. It is also getting excited by the light. Okay, this is also getting excited by the light. This is also getting excited by the light, but it's not transferring its electron back to the photosystem 2. But photosystem 2, it excited and its electron is given into the photosystem 1. Now, we come to oxygen evolving complex. Oxygen evolving complex, the name suggested that it evolves oxygen, means that they produce the oxygen. How? Water has been taken. Okay, water has been taken. What happens? Oxygen evolving complex, they made up of manganese. Okay, 4 molecules of manganese. It is in oxygen evolving complex it's present. It contains. Now, when photosystem 2 get excited and it's release its electron, now it is depriving of electron. It requires electron to balance, to make it relaxed condition, because anything it is getting excited, it is giving its electron to someone, so it is deprived of electron, so it's required electron. So from here it will get the electron. They are getting electron from the water. Okay, and how the water is helping to give the electron? By the oxygen evolving complex. What oxygen evolving complex is doing? Oxygen evolving complex, the manganese of oxygen evolving complex is going to a different stages, and the last stage of the manganese is breaking the water, splitting the water with the help of sunlight, and it is producing proton and oxygen, and electron is being given to the photosystem 2. So see, here only your photosynthesis process. First, water has been splitting. First, light is excited the PS2 and PS1, and they get excited. And what happens when some molecule getting excited? It releases its energy from down state to higher state, right? And when it can't hold its electron, it will go away. So like that, photosystem 2, it's releasing its electron. Now it's need electron. So who is donating the electron? Water is donating the electron. How? Oxygen evolving complex with the help of light breaking down the water and releasing the electron and taken by the photosystem 2. So the water is the electron donor of the photosynthesis process. Remember, not the light. Light is just exciting the photosystem. Light is just exciting the photosystem 2. See, if light will be excited again and again, okay, just forget about that, there is no water, only photosystem. Okay, only photosystem. and light is exciting them, and electron is releasing. Okay, electron is releasing. So see, suppose it is 6 electron in photosystem 2, and it is excited and it is releasing its electron. So it is going one. So how many left? 5, right? 5 is left. So again it will be excited, again it will be excited, it will be excited continuously. So at the time will come when there will be no electron, right? The molecule will be break down, or it will be destroyed, or something will happen. So what will happen? The photosynthesis will not take place again. But it is not the case, right? Photosynthesis is happening like in the whole the lifetime of the plant. So not to happening these things, the water is donating its electron. So whenever the light will be excited the photosystem or chlorophyll, it can give the electron to the photosystem 1, or to pass the electron for like photosynthesis, for the photosynthesis process, that is like to make the process like forward. Okay, so I think it's understandable that why water is required for photosynthesis process, for giving the electron. This is the electron donor. So this is the function of oxygen evolving complex. So you have seen that light, water, photosystem 1, photosystem 2, and oxygen evolving complex. What is the function of them? Okay, okay. One more thing. Here, photosystem 2, electron is being passes, and by some like transporter, it is going to photosystem 1, and again it is going, and it's getting electron, and it is excited by the light, and it is going to here. Again, it will be transported by some, and here one complex will be there that is called as ferredoxin. With the help of ferredoxin, NADP positive will accept the electron, and it will produce NADPH. NADPH. This is known as non-cyclic photophosphorylation process. Okay, this is known as non-cyclic photophosphorylation process. One more thing. Sometime when photosystem 1 pass giving the electron to the other transporter, it is going to till here, but it is not give away to the NADP positive. Okay, it is coming back to here, not photosystem 2. Don't forget. It is not going to photosystem 2. It is going to one transporter, that is cytochrome B6. Okay. Again, it will go to the photosystem 1, and it will go, and it will continuous. It will happening continuously. Okay. It will happening continuously. So this is known as cyclic photophosphorylation. So in non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation, here, here the case is that one more information for photosynthesis process is that the ratio of ATP and NADPH that is produced here, it is 3:2. Okay, 3 molecules of ATP should be generated, and 2 molecules of NADPH should be generated. If only non-cyclic photophosphorylation is been happening, only 2 molecules of ATP and 1 molecules of NADPH should be produced. Okay, sorry. To make the balance of 3:2 ratio of NADPH and ATP is to NADPH, this non-cyclic and cyclic photophosphorylation is required simultaneously. Okay, so non-cyclic and cyclic photophosphorylation details we'll see in some other videos. Okay, so understood how light, water, photosystem 1, photosystem 2, and oxygen evolving complex is required, and how photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 giving the electron to the other transporter, and why that again and again the supply of electron is required in photosynthesis process. So in light dependent reaction, cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation process is taking place, and as a result, splitting of water is happening. This is known as pyrolysis of water, and generation of ATP and NADPH is taking place, and synthesis of oxygen has been taking place. Okay. See here, this is light dependent reaction, and this is light independent reaction. Light independent reaction is also known as Calvin cycle. We'll go to this part later. See, sunlight is going, water is also inside the granum, and it is releasing oxygen and producing ATP and NADPH. Okay. Now, see, here ATP and NADPH has been produced in the granum, and this ATP and NADPH is releasing into stroma. stroma. This ATP and NADPase is going in the stroma. Here, this ATP and NADPase of light dependent reaction is used in the light independent reaction to making glucose. Okay, making glucose. That's why it is known as light independent reaction. Here, light is not required. Here, only carbon dioxide is required. See, in light dependent reaction, we didn't see that carbon dioxide has been used. Here, only water, sunlight, and electron transporter and oxygen evolving complex. These all things are required. But where our carbon dioxide is being using? Carbon dioxide is using here in our light independent reaction. That is nothing but our Calvin cycle. And ATP and NADPH of the light dependent reaction is required here because for making this glucose we need energy. We need energy. Without energy, no metabolic process will be happen. For supplying energy, we need ATP and NADPH, that is 3:2 ratio. For supplying this 3:2 ratio of energy, we need this light dependent reaction. That's why light dependent reaction is the cause of light independent reaction. Without light dependent reaction, light independent reaction will not happen because without energy, no metabolic process. Now we'll see about light independent reaction. Light independent reaction is known as Calvin cycle, Calvin-Benson cycle or CPB cycle, reductive pentose phosphate cycle. Why it is reductive pentose phosphate cycle? We'll see. In light independent reaction, we have three stages. One is carboxylation or carbon fixation, and another one is reduction or regeneration. Okay. So now we will see the Calvin cycle. So this is the Calvin cycle, where the precursor of Calvin cycle is ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, atmospheric carbon dioxide, and this enzyme ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase. Ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase will catch the carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide, and it will fix the carbon dioxide into ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. So this is 5 carbon compound, this is 1 carbon compound. Together they will form 6 carbon compound. This is the 6 carbon compound, which is an intermediate, will be breaking down soon with the help of water. Hydrolysis process will be happening here, and it will give rise to 3 carbon compound molecule. One is 3-phosphoglycerate and another one where OH will be added here, and it will break down, and from here one and phosphoglycerate, here one oxygen will be added. Okay, so this is 3-phosphoglycerate will be raised with the help of ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase, which will fix the carbon dioxide to ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, and it will breaking down into phosphoglycerate, 3 molecules of phosphoglycerate. Now carbon dioxide is being fixed, is fixing into the ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. That's why this name is a carboxylation. Now ATP and NADPH, what we have seen in our light dependent reaction, that is going to be used here in Calvin cycle. Okay. Now next step is our reduction. In reduction step, what happens? The 3-phosphoglycerate what is produced here, this will be converting into 3-phosphoglycerate with the help of phosphoglycerate kinase. Kinase means adding of phosphate. Remember, kinase means adding of phosphate. This ATP is going to be used here. Okay, this ATP for the producing light dependent reaction is going to be added here, and phosphate is this. Phosphate has been added in this molecule. Okay, yeah. So this is this phosphoglycerate, and why this? Because 2-phosphate is being added in 2 different carbon atom, not in a single atom. If in a single atom, it will be known as di. If in a different carbon atom, it will call as a bis. So kinase helps to edit the phosphate group in the carbon. So it is carbon and produce 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. Now this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate will produce glycerol, will convert it into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and NADPH will be added here. NADPH will provide energy. This hydrogen will be added in bisphosphoglycerate and will produce glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. This is our aldehyde group here, and the enzyme is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. Dehydrogenase means adding of hydrogen. So glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate has been added. It's produced. Now this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So this is reduction. Reduction means an adding of hydrogen atom. See, hydrogen atom has been added. Adding of protons or electrons. This is the reduction process. Now this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate it will give rise to sugar, as well as it will help to regenerate our precursor molecule. We'll see how. See, this is our 5-carbon compound. So we have 6 molecules of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate and 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. So total 12 molecules of the 3-phosphoglyceride will be produced, right? 6 molecule plus 6 molecule, total 12 molecule. And this is how many carbon? Here 5 carbon, and here 1 carbon. So total 30 plus here 1 carbon, so it will be 6. Total 36 carbon and 12 molecule. 12 molecule is containing 36 carbon compound. So sorry, 36 carbon atom. 36 carbon atom in 12 molecules. Okay. Now this 36 carbon will be, we have 10 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Each molecule of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate containing 3. So total we have 30 carbon. So 1 ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is containing 5 carbon. So 5 divided by 3, 30, it will be 6. So total our 6 ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is going to be back, right? Now these 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, now it will going into cytoplasm. Here it will be converted into triose phosphate. This triose phosphate will be going to give rise to our organic compound that is required, that is the main essential compound for photosynthesis. Like the result of our photosynthesis will give rise to sugar molecule. And here ATP, and NADPH. How many ATP? Total 6 ATP. Here also 6 ATP and one more. 6, 12. Total 18 ATP will be used. Okay, here also ATP will be used. Okay, so without ATP, this ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase will not be will not work. So total 18 ATP will be used in 1 Calvin cycle and 12 NADPH. So 18 ATP, 12 NADPH. So what is the ratio? 3:2, right? So I told in light dependent reaction that 3:2 ratio is required for light dependent. 3:2 ratio is need to be maintained. This is the 3:2 ratio required for this Calvin cycle purpose. Okay, this is the complete process of our photosynthesis. So I hope you liked it and understood the photosynthesis in the simplest way, that is for your exam point of view. And we'll see details in Calvin cycle, cyclic photosynthesis, plastic and all in some other videos. If you like, please subscribe my channel. Thank you guys for watching my lecture.